Well, before you do that, thank you, Chris. 18 months as a platinum member. Don't really have a question, just saying hello. Thank you, Chris. You get 2 gold stars. And Josh has a question too.
Papa Deals has something to say.
Uh-oh.
This is in reference to a poll that we ran during our live stream, and basically it comes down to this. First, a word from our sponsor, Crypto.com, home of the Visa card that pays you up to 8% in rewards and the app that pays you up to 14.5% annually on your crypto stake. Join more than 10 million users on the world's fastest growing crypto app as you trade with confidence on the world's fastest and most secure crypto exchange. More information and a special sign-up offer at the end of this video. What's a better deal? A $350 Ryzen 7 5800X or a $450 Ryzen 9 5900X? Allow me to share with you the correct answer. A $450 Ryzen 9 5900X. A $350 5800X 8-core chip is not cheap enough, definitely in 2022. But even if those were the prices in 2020 when they first launched, it's not cheap enough over the Ryzen 9 to make it make any sense. Now, I know some people are immediately going to say, but Tech, you don't understand. $100 is a lot of money to some people. I very much do understand. I know exactly how much $100 is. There's a lot of people to whom $100 is literally the difference between the lights staying on and the lights going off. Those people should not be buying Ryzen 7 or Ryzen 9 anythings. Those people need savings and money in their hip pocket national bank, because if you are $100 from having the electricity cut off, you very, very, very much do not need to spend money on a gaming computer.
You shouldn't be gaming. You should be out working.
No, yeah.
Go earn some money.
Your life is financially broken.
Baby steps.
Absolutely.
Financial Peace University first. That's
you
the first
need
step.
Dave's baby steps badly because your life is broken bad. Just go fix your life. Seriously, stop buying stuff you can't afford with money you don't have to impress people you don't like. It's a good saying.
It is.
Now, another group of people will say, fine, I have the money. I could afford it, but I don't need it, Tech. It's not a good deal. I'm playing games. I have a single 1440p monitor. I have a mid-level graphics card. A Ryzen 9 wouldn't do anything for me because I'm not multitasking. I'm not trying to edit 4K videos or watch YouTube videos or Twitch streams while I'm playing games. I'm not trying to live stream. I'm just playing games.
Or running multiple monitors or...
Okay, fair enough. You're still wrong, and here's why. The reason for that is all computer hardware becomes obsolete at some point for new current software. It'll run whatever was current when it was released. Correct. GTA 5 runs on 4-core CPUs because it came out during the 4-core era. You can play Wing Commander 2 on a 386 today. It doesn't care that it's 2022. It will still run on a 386. But if you want to continue using new and updated software, and especially in this modern era of service games,
correct.
Fortnite, looking at you, Fortnite used to be perfect on a 4-core chip, and it never ever needed more than 4 cores.
But now
it's rough on a 4-core chip now. It will run, but it really wants 6 cores, and it will use 8, and it didn't used to, but they've made a lot of updates to it. They've updated the game engine, they've added RTX, they've added a lot of effects.
Correct.
A lot of stuff has changed. World of Tanks. World of Tanks used to run on a Core 2 Duo. Yep. It will not run on a Core 2 Duo anymore. I mean, it will launch and display frames, but no, it won't. The needs have changed. A Ryzen 7 5800X will age out and need to be replaced sooner than a 5900X. How much sooner and when will be different for every single person.
Correct.
But if person number 1 could get 2 years out of a Ryzen 7 and 3 years out of a Ryzen 9, and person number 2 could get 3 years out of a Ryzen 7 and 4 years out of a Ryzen 9, and person 3 could get 4 and 5 years, then respectively they each gained 1 additional useful year because software gets updated, things get more demanding, their needs change, but they can put off that delay because they bought themselves a better CPU.
Correct.
Now, let's do some math. $350 divided by 8 cores gives you a per core cost of $43.75. That is the Ryzen 7 5800X. Bring up another calculator right here. 450 divided by 12 cores gives you a per core cost of $37.50. So on a per core basis, the Ryzen 9 is less expensive, and moderately so. Not massively, it's not half the price, but moderately so. But the Ryzen 9 has another benefit. It extends your use of DDR4 RAM and your AM4 motherboard further into the AM5 lifespan and DDR5. Currently, DDR5 is very, very expensive.
And it will get sorted out.
It will get sorted out.
But then you don't have to wait for it to
You don't have to tear apart your machine and rebuild your computer.
Like we had to do with Zen 1.
If you can wait a whole extra year to not tear apart your machine and wait for DDR5 to get cheaper, it actually saves you even more because it makes your current stuff worth more.
So rather than talking to the 30% of people who are chuckleheads and really don't want to hear it, what can we say to the 70% of people that get it?
Okay. Here's a different way to look at the math. I said person 1, 2, and 3 earlier. 2, 3, and 4 years for the Ryzen 7, and 3, 4, and 5 years for the Ryzen 9. I mean, these are just representative examples. Mm-hmm. We're assuming that each person only gets one extra year out of the chip. Let's start with person number 1 here really quick. Clearing those numbers out again here, just above my head is the Ryzen 7, and above Rogue's head is the Ryzen 9.
Oh, Ryzen 9.
You're very excited.
Ryzen 9.
If we take the Ryzen 7, and we assume we're going to get 2 years out of it.
2, okay.
$350
yes.
divided by
2.
2 years is $175 a year.
Correct.
If we get 3 years out of the Ryzen 9, $450 divided by 3.
$150.
It costs you less money per year to buy the Ryzen 9. And that assumes no savings in platform costs. In 2 years' time, DDR5 is likely to cost more than in 3 years' time.
Yeah.
It will get cheaper, to be sure, than it is today. Mm-hmm. I fully expect it will. But DDR4 took about 3 years before it started to become reasonable and fast. When DDR4 first came out, it was expensive, and it wasn't great for a couple years. DDR3 was the same way. There were actually a period back in the Core 2 era when DDR3 boards existed and DDR2 boards existed, and the DDR3 was faster, but it cost like twice the money, kind of like where we're at now.
Correct.
History repeats itself.
Yep.
And so it's less expensive. Now let's take that a step further. Let's take person number 2, 3 years and 4 years. $350 divided by 3 years, $116 per year. 4 years, $450 divided by 4, $112. Now it's pretty close, but it's still cheaper for the Ryzen 9.
Correct.
But there's something to consider.
What?
When the person with the Ryzen 9 wants to go sell it, whether it's 3 years or 4 years from now.
Well, they'll get more than the 5800X.
Say that louder for the people in the back.
You'll get more money for a 5900X than a 5800X.
So the residual value will be higher. How much? Based upon what I've seen historically between like i5s and i7s, going back to the Sandy Bridge era, like an i5 2500K versus an i7 2600K, it's anywhere between 50% to 100% of the difference. And so you're looking at, let's take the lower end of that, 50%. Because for a long time, even when they were 5 years old, an i7 would easily sell for $50 more than an i5 on eBay. Which means the 5900X will retain half of that $100 difference. So you may go sell that 5900X for $200 in 4 years. Or 3 years, or whatever the number is. But the Ryzen 7 will only be $150. So you get back half of what you paid.
Correct.
And so it's actually only $50 difference.
Yep.
So let me give you guys a different way to think about this. Let's take the middle person, number 2 again. They're going to keep the Ryzen 7 for 3 years.
Okay.
Or the Ryzen 9 for 4 years. Now, we already established that the person who upgrades in 2 or 3 years gets a bigger benefit out of the Ryzen 9. But the middle person, it's pretty even. It's pretty close.
$4.
Right. How much of a price difference did we say that Total cost of ownership once you go sell the chip is between the Ryzen 7 and Ryzen 9?
$50?
$50. If we take the price difference between the chips, and that $50 lasts you for 3 years, well, that's $16.60.
Correct.
No matter how you slice it and dice it, it's cheaper. You are not saving money buying a Ryzen 7 5800X for $350. You aren't saving it now. You aren't saving it when you sell it. You aren't saving it in longevity. It doesn't make any sense. Not at these available prices. Now, if when you're watching this, if in the future they're changed or they're further apart, sure, okay, fine. But you know what's funny? In 2020, when these launched, they were both $100 more. The Ryzen 7 5800X launched for $450.
Correct.
And the 5900X launched for $550. I've already said all this. I made this exact same speech 18 months ago when they launched.
I know.
And you know what I got? A bunch of people who went, oh, but that's just a waste of money, man. I don't need 12 cores, man. Oh, that's irrelevant, man. But they come down together and they maintain that difference. To this day, you could easily get $100 more if you, let's say you want to upgrade now and it's only a year and a half later. Okay? They were $100 difference 18 months ago. They're $100 difference today. So, assuming you otherwise have the money, which you shouldn't be buying either of these if you're like broke and the electric bill, you know, your lights, water, and heat are about to be turned off because you don't have $50 to your name. So if we put that aside and assume that you could otherwise afford either one, and your question is, man, is it worth it? Should I upgrade?
Buy the best you can.
To a point. You don't need a Threadripper. That's
Okay,
unnecessary.
well, yeah.
No, within reason. But the point is, the Ryzen 9 made sense 18 months ago. It makes sense today. And the Ryzen 7 5800X has never made sense. It didn't make sense 18 months ago. It doesn't make sense today. Nope. You could put this, like say somebody watching upgrades every 18 months.
Okay.
And they go, well, I don't keep my chips for 3 and 4 years. That's stupid, man. I upgrade every year and a half. I like to I like to keep up with it. And so I buy the middle chips because that's more cost effective. If I'm going to upgrade every 18 months, I don't want to waste my money. Oh, really? If you'd bought a Ryzen 7 5800X for $450 18 months ago, now if they're going for $350 today, you're probably not going to sell one new for $350. Like say you can get $50 under that, you sell it for $300. And then you could have bought a 5900X 18 months ago for $550. They're going for $450, so $50 under that, $400. Please help me out here, Rogue. What is $400 minus $300?
$100.
What is $550 minus $450?
$100.
So they would get back every penny they paid.
Yes, but remember there was a bit of a trick trying to get the 5900X.
There's always a trick to getting stuff in the middle of a pandemic and everything else. But putting that issue aside, because this advice applies to every generation.
Yes.
This advice applied in 2016 to the i5 6600K versus the i7 6700K to the i7 6800K, which was the only CPU anybody should have been buying. I said the other day that on the Intel side that the i5s were stupid and the only CPU anybody should be buying over there is an i7 12700K, and I got a lot of flack over on Twitter. Gamers Nexus even replied to me and said, "You're not respecting people without money, man." To which my reply is, if they've got $300 to buy an i5 and $200 to buy a motherboard and build a whole new machine, the extra $100 to go to an i7 should not be destroying their life.
It's the same argument.
Because it's $300 right now for an i5 12600K versus $400 for an i7 12700K. That $100 difference will be there a year from now. Mm-hmm. But if you had followed my advice and 18 months ago you'd have bought a 5900X and you sold it today, you got to enjoy a 5900X for the past 18 months.
Yep.
For the exact same total cost of ownership out of pocket as if you'd bought a 5700X and wait for it, a 5800X or a 5600X. If you'd paid $300, which is what they cost when they launched, they're currently going for $227 right now on Amazon.
Okay.
They won't sell for that used on eBay. Mm-mm. So they'll sell in the high 100s, 170, 100 and whatever. So it'll have cost you close to $150 to own a 5600X for the past 18 months. But if you had bought a $550 Ryzen 9 and sell it for $400 today, it's cost you about $150 to own it for 18 months. You could have owned a 5900X for the same amount of money as a 5600X.
Yep.
The money was tied up in the chip during those 18 months. You had to have the upfront money to buy it, but you get it back out on the other end. Why would you buy anything less? Take this, run it back to the past 10 years of CPUs. You'll be shocked when you discover it applies going a long way back. Sandy Bridge in 2011, Haswell in 2013, Skylake and Broadwell E in 2015 and 2016. Heck, Haswell E in 2014, the predecessor to the 6800K. If you cycle your chips a lot, you get it back pretty quickly. It doesn't matter. Enjoy the high-end chip. If you keep your chips for years, you will enjoy better performance as it ages and degrades versus a cheaper chip. Don't buy cheap low-end chips. Don't buy mid-range chips. But that doesn't necessarily mean you should buy Threadrippers. I've seen several people clap back at me and say, oh, Tech just thinks everybody should get a Threadripper. There is a point at where it no longer applies. There's a law of diminishing returns. You should not buy, $1,500 CPUs. That's unnecessary because those do depreciate. What do you want to add to all this?
No, you said it.
Did I say it?
And said it again, and said it again, and again, and again, and again.
Well, I hope everybody hears me this time. I will never have to say this again, right?
Nah.
Are you going to clip this and put this on Byte Size Tech? This will be a great one for Byte Size Tech because if you're watching this on Byte Size Tech, that means she clipped it because we're recording this during a live stream. But I will tell you, this holds up remarkably well. Oh, don't tell anybody I said this.
What?
It applies to graphics cards as well. And you can follow this back for years on graphics cards. 10 series, going back to 2016. 1070 versus 1080 Ti. Look at their values today. You might as well have bought the 1080 Ti. 2070 versus 2080 Ti. Might as well have bought a 2080 Ti.
Yep.
Go all the way back to the Hawaii XT cards, the 200 series from AMD over a decade ago. Or no, about a decade ago at this point, actually. The Hawaii XT top-end card was the R9 290X. Compare that to the 280 and the 270 cards and their values for 2 to 4 years after they came out and what their resale values were. Yeah, might as well buy. The only exception in that case was the R9 295X2 dual GPU liquid-cooled card, which was a weird one-off thing that was $1,500 when it launched. That one depreciated horribly because it was a weird card, which just goes to show that there is, like the Titan cards on NVIDIA side were never worth buying. The Titan XP, the Titan X cards, those were stupid.
Yes.
But for all normal consumer GPUs, it largely tracks. Spend more, it sells for more, it lasts longer. You didn't actually spend any more money. All of the cheap budget cards in the world are kind of a waste of the time and money to put them into a machine. Which means everybody should build Ryzen 9s and i9s and 3080s and 3090s.
Well, if they want it to last and play recent stuff.
Even if you don't want it to last. Even if you only want it for 18 months. They fall in value in line with each other. You get your money back, flip it into the next high-end card. You could spend the next 5 years with an i9 and a 3090, or you could spend the next 5 years with a i5 and a 3070, and your total cost of ownership, if you flip every 18 months, might actually be remarkably similar. I know which one I'd choose if the money's about the same.
I know you would.
End rant.
End rant. Are you sure?
Yes.
Asian Persuasion, thank you for the 12 months gold membership, mate. Just saying he's got a 5900X and a 6800 XT. 1440p performance for now. 64 gigs of RAM, of course.
Awesome.
There you go. He's enjoying that. Thank you, guys.
Cheers. How many of you have a Visa card that pays you up to 8% on every purchase? Crypto.com offers an amazing deal on their Visa card with cash back that is an unbeatable deal. No annual fee, no sign-up fee, and no credit checks or interest payments. It works just like a prepaid debit card, allowing you to spend your money everywhere Visa is accepted. But wait, there's more. Get your Spotify, Netflix, and Amazon Prime subscriptions 100% paid for by Crypto.com. Yes, you heard me right. Use your new Crypto.com Visa card to pay for your subscriptions, and you get 100% back in rewards. How would you like to earn up to 14.5% annual interest on your crypto holdings? If you're holding crypto for investment, inflation protection, or price speculation, it can be frustrating feeling like your money is just parked. Interest is paid weekly directly to your account to spend however you like. The interest is also paid in the same token that you're holding. So if you have Bitcoin staked, you earn Bitcoin. If you have Ethereum staked, you earn Ethereum, and so on. Of course, you can also buy, sell, and exchange 200 plus different cryptocurrencies. Crypto.com is first and foremost a crypto exchange. Features including a private wallet with full control of your private keys, margin and derivatives trading options for advanced traders. Crypto credit allows you to borrow against your holdings with no deadlines or credit checks. Crypto NFTs allows you to explore the new world of non-fungible tokens. Crypto Pay allows you to pay any merchant with crypto and earn up to 10% back in rewards. If you are looking for the place to be in crypto, use our link down in the video description below to sign up today. You will get a $25 crypto sign-up bonus and 30 days of 0% transaction fees on credit and debit card purchases of crypto. It supports the channel and gets you a great offer to get started.